What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I get these 10,000 steps in. Right now, I'm in Rosedale Park. I got some peeps over here, so I'll be over here at times. This used to be a who's who of Detroit area. You know, you had judges and news reporters living over here, lawyers. You know, it really was a collection of who's who. Had the doctors. You know, this was once upon a time a super well-to-do area. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a really nice area, but it's not what it used to be, let's say like 30 years ago. I remember when I'd come over here when I was like 10 years old, and I'd just be blown away by some of these houses over here. Like, wow, people really live like this, you know. But enough of the history lesson. Let's get to the topic at hand, which is you utilizing your 20s. You know, this is just for my young cats that are in their 20s, but this can be applied, or some of this can be applied, you know, if you're in your 30s. But I want to really focus on the peeps in their 20s. You know, you have a finite amount of time to set your life up for what you want it to be when you're older. Your 20s are the optimal time to do that, all right? You don't want to waste your 20s doing stuff that's not really going to serve you, not really going to propel you forward. While you're in that age range, you know, your body is strong enough, fit enough, resilient enough, healthy enough for you to really put in the grind hours necessary to set your life up, you know, for later on. You can grind in your 30s if you've wasted your 20s, but why even do that? You know, you want to put that grind work in your 20s so that in your 30s, you're already shifting into living a better life. You know, you don't want to waste your 20s, start grinding in your 30s to start living a better life in your 40s. Because that whole time grinding in your 30s, even though you still are pretty healthy enough, pretty spry enough and whatnot, you know, for the most part, physically, I'd say about 90% of what you could do in your 20s, it's still possible to do in your 30s. It's just not the same, because even though physically you're able to do these things, you're gonna be thinking about how I should have got started doing this sooner. Why did I waste my 20s? You know, just BSing my time away. You know, I spent my time in my 20s playing Call of Duty. You know, I was the man. Not me personally. I'm just giving this as an example. You know, you'll be thinking to yourself in your 30s. I wasted the whole decade where I had a 2 at the front of my age, being the man in Call of Duty. You know, being the man in Fortnite. You know, being the man in GTA Online. You know, you don't want to look back thinking about that. You want to look back like, man, I really optimized the hell out of my 20s. That's why now that I'm in my mid 30s, life is going as easy for me as it is. It has nothing to do with luck, because people love to throw luck out there. They act like you ain't been grinding. They act like you ain't been putting the work in already. It's luck. That's the reason for why you're in the position that you're in your 30s. No, it has nothing to do with luck. It has to do with while they were going to the movies, while they were going to the amusement park, while they were going to the mall, while they was playing video games all through the night. You know, they're up 4 a.m. They're still up, got the earpiece on, talking to their buddies on Discord. They're still trying to do whatever on Apex Legends, if that's still a thing, because that was a thing for a while. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, you're still playing online video games with your buddies all through the night. Hell, I mean, you know, if you're up playing video games at 4 a.m. and you haven't gotten any sleep, think about that. People like me who are really out there grinding, we're already up, starting the day, pushing forward. You haven't even gotten no sleep yet. You've been up playing games, just wasting away your time. So you don't want older chaps like myself to be running circles around you, because at that age, You're in the bud of youth. There is no reason why a guy that's my age should be running circles around you. You should be running circles around me. You're younger, you're fitter, you're sprier. Well, that's part of the problem. Many of y'all, see, I look around, I pay attention. Many of y'all, you're in your 20s and you're not fitter than me, which is crazy. You should be way fitter than me. I should not look better than you do with my shirt off. All right? If you're 20 and you and I go out, the girls that are your age should not be checking me out over you. But that's oftentimes what happens. You know, I give my son a hard time about that. You know, my son's 21. He and I are out. You know, my son is slim. I mean, I was really slim when I was his age too, but that was because I played so many sports and stuff. But nonetheless, he and I will be out and about. The girls that are his age, they'll be glancing over at me. They look at him and they look at me. So it's like they can either try to have fun with my son who is, you know, still struggling in terms of finances, or they can for sure have fun, you know, with his daddy that's, you know, already together. Now, I'm not interested in dating no women that are his age because they're just like babies to me. But they're looking at me though. You know, that's the crazy part. They're looking at me though. So why are they looking at me? Because by comparison, I'm a much better option than you. And that just shouldn't be. That, I don't look at that as a boost to the ego. I look at that as, man, like y'all really got to get it together. That should not be. The girls in your age range should not be looking at your dad like, what's his dad on? You know, what's up with his dad? I don't want the son. What's up with his dad? That should not be, man. Like, really. And if that's your life, use that as motivation to get yourself together. You know, get yourself together so that one day you'll be that 40-year-old guy that they're looking at. Even though you may not want them, it's confirmation that you've kept yourself together well enough to where such a younger lady would be interested in you if you were interested. You know, so you guys, do not waste your 20s. Utilize your 20s. I kind of wasted my 20s, like not completely, but I wasted a good chunk of my 20s. I think I've told you guys before, you know, I was playing video games and stuff. The stuff that I'm telling y'all not to do, I'm doing so because I did these things myself and failed because of them. So learn from my mistakes. Don't repeat them yourself. Don't waste your time playing video games and watching, you know, porn and, you know, doing all this hanging out and all that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that the hanging out and the playing video games, they're not cool for an occasion. I'm not saying you can never do it. You can do that stuff in your downtime, but your downtime needs to be fewer and far in between. It should be like, if you in your 20s, your downtime should be like 10-15% max. It needs to be 85-90% work you putting in, grind, sweat equity, because you want to set yourself up. You know, when you're in your mid-30s, you want to be in a position where you like, look, I'm doing this and that for money as an option. Like, I have this job because I want to. I'm doing something that I want to do because I have other things in place set up for me to where I'm not slave to some job that I hate. There's no feeling like that. And even though you can set that up in your 30s to enjoy it in your 40s, it's nothing like setting it up in your 20s to be able to enjoy it in your 30s. I had way more fun in my 30s than I did in my 20s because I was still young enough to enjoy the things that I wanted to do, but now I had more resources available to me. So just keep that in mind, y'all. I'm gonna leave it there. Don't waste your 20s. Use your 20s to set up the rest of your life. Hit me with them comments, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna holler at y'all soon. Peace.